Vampire Princess Chapter 2 Episode 7 Flash Sword, Skilled Sword. I stopped the overhead slash with an identically shaped but differently colored sword. The arm that received that blow felt numb from its weight, and my whole body felt like it was breaking. Dashwa. Prince Ashel is strong. And his current status after receiving the buff and physical strengthening, burst, some of his stats will be able to catch up to mine. However, since the gap between our base stats is too large, no matter what he still won't be able to catch up to me. If we simply fought head to head, there's no way to overcome that barrier and the fight will quickly become one-sided. That's why when using the same weapon, in a fight between two swords, I should have been able to overwhelm Prince Ashel. That was my deduction. However, I can't do it. I planned to block one attack and react accordingly. Yup, I did take him lightly. However, even with the simple difference in the numerical values of our basic stats, Prince Ashel is still able to bury that difference with the difference in our sword skill. The result is, as he increased the pressure on the sword I used to defend, even now, it's clear that if I lose focus, even for an instant, I will fall to my knee. This is bad. This posture is bad. I have to create some distance and return to my original strategy of hit and run. After my split-second decision, I launched a kick that was accompanied by a flutter of my skirt. It should have been a surprise attack, but it seems Prince Ashel predicted it and raised one of his knees to guard. When our feet clashed, finally the balance of power was broken and using the recoil, I jumped back. What lovely underwear. Personally, I prefer it if you don't wear any. What a pity. I am sorry for betraying your expectations. As you can see, I have bad walking etiquette. Perhaps showing his composure, he didn't pursue but instead, stood there while seeming really disappointed and shaking his head. By the way, usually when wearing this kind of dress, wearing no underwear is customary. However, as a modern person, I wouldn't want to walk around wearing nothing underneath. That's why, the current dress was equipped with something like innerwear, a 3-in-1, underwear with bra.s.sear, waist nipper, and garter belt all in one. No, I too have bad walking etiquette. In an instant, Prince Ashel kicked the ground, which exploded and sent giant earth chunks flying towards me. At once both of us moved to the left, and the presence I feel from that direction is a feint. Trapped with killing intent coming from all four directions, I hesitated and activated the basic skill jump, and flew forward into the sky while rotating 2 or 3 times, and got away from that area. However, the real Ashel is right behind me. When and how? Not giving me time to even arrive at an answer, his attack came closing in. Before I landed, Prince Ashel's figure appeared and approached me, swiping down with a slash attack. Since have no choice and must meet the attack, even with my unnatural posture, I swa.n.g my sword. Blade and blade intertwined, and vivid sparks flew. Using that force, I got distance between us. Losing the initiative alone is already bad, but now I can only stop his approaching sword or repel it while continuing to retreat. I wonder how to say it. This is, I'm being taken into area where I can't display my real power, and I'm being cornered slowly. This kind of unpleasant fighting style. I never played war games, but is this what they call waiting? So boring. I thought I only wanted to hit him once, but now I think I won't be pleased without adding 2 to 3 more hits onto that. Using our differences in leg strength, I closed our distance in one go, and at the same time sent furious strikes toward the prince. Diagonal slash toward the shoulder evaded. The skill from fencing that lets one return an attack with the flick of a wrist swallow return. He bent his upper body backward and evaded that too. Moreover, even fencing skills that changed trajectory in the air horizontal flash as if drawing the character orphan, were repelled. I quickly accept it. Didn't you want to let me hit you? No way, if I'm struck with those attacks I'll die. Can you please hold back a bit? I've been holding back. That's because I am on my basic stats, without any buffs. I also didn't use any magic attacks from my saint job. The sword is also equal, only a bit inferior, and I only use basic player and fencing skills. That would mean we are fighting under the same conditions, and to fight equally with someone whose level is lower is, not to forget how he continuously cornered me a while ago. My pride is beyond repair. Somehow I feel stupid for holding back. I'll be more serious. That's scary. He squinted and acted as if he was trembling in fear, but as I thought, his eyes were not laughing at all. Well, even if you die, as long as it's within 30 minutes I can still resurrect you. It's only painful at the beginning. Fencer Basic Skill Thrust. Sword and Sword CLAS.H.I plus NG. He parried my thrust, but I've also considered it. Using the force, the prince kicked the stone behind him and did a triangle jump. Facing the prince who is above me, I released my serious skill, Master Fencer Skill Nanaden Kawarha, 7 Heaven Sword Descend. It's not an illusion nor an after image, the sword tip really splits into 7 and attacks the prince at the same time, making it so that he can't evade. Ka. He instantly escaped toward the left, which was the less dangerous route, while successfully evading 3 of the swords. However, he can't evade the other 4. That Prince Ashel, though I'm not the one to talk, just what kind of reflexes does he have? The sword in his hand stopped too, one more was repelled by his reinforced left hand, and the last one, the one in my hand, while he was still in the air, was received by his shoulder in the sword guard where the force would be the weakest. Blood flowed from the shoulder that was cut, but he was only damaged to that degree. Although, from my perspective, it is identical to presenting his neck. Half by reflex, I turned the point of my sword, and lunged it to cut his neck. Prince Ashel tried to guard with his own sword, but it's too late. As I'm thinking that I've perfectly seized him, the sword in the prince's hand moved as if it had become bent, and conversely grazed my wrist. -gh. Moreover, the sword that became crooked began coming toward me, and I felt I would be unable to deal with it, so I backstepped in full speed. The backwards force alone let me dig a trench with the tip of my toes, and I successfully moved back 20 meters in distance. Prince Ashel faced me, and let out an amazed voice. Seriously, you have no limits. Amazing. That's my line. What was that just now? Well, that's one of my secret skills, Nami no Kezumi, Wave of Mist. Though normally it should be able to cut the enemy's wrist tendon. I don't even need to use heal because at night Vampire Princess Vitality alone will close it. While looking at my wrist, which has neither a trace of a wound nor a scar, I let out an astonished sigh. Really, this is why I hate personal battles, since I don't know what kind unexpected things I will face. Well, it is a powerless person's trick to lets me win. Do you think it's unfair? Of course not. Since my basic ability in itself is unfair. However, even with that vast difference in basic stats, to be able to invalidate it with his pure technique is, it seems I really took him too lightly. Of course, with full equipment, buffs, and being able to use magic as I like, it won't be a problem. Conversely, if we're in the same condition, for example, if there's a sword that can be compared to Sinner of Rose, Gilles de Rice, I suspect the 3 big countries might have swords of similar power, then there is a possibility there are opponents who is able to defeat me. In actuality, this prince, though I feel bad to say it, is the king of the hill from a middle CLA.S country. If I think like that, this is quite a harvest. Well then, next is. While thinking that, I felt a familiar presence from the sky, and I can also hear the noise of several carriages coming closer in the faraway darkness. Princess, I am sorry for making you wait. As one would expect, the one who descended from the sky is the 6-winged seraph, Mikato. As Prince Ashel never saw her current form before, he widened his eyes in surprise. However, I ignored it and faced her. Good work. Did you deal with the pursuers? Yes. I've eliminated everyone back there. However, when I went to confirm from the sky, I saw there was another group of pursuers getting closer. Of course, if Princess desires, would you like for me to deal with them as well? This kind faithfulness is characteristic of Mikato. If I start thinking about the other lot, they would probably say, I'll also deal with them, kill them easily, and report it to me after the fact. Pursuers, losing the intent to fight, he stored the sword into its scabbard and turned serious. It seems so. And it's just finally getting interesting. What a killjoy. I also pointed the tip of my sword toward the ground and languidly put it down. Well, I guess it's impossible to go on. Plus, my body strengthening is also nearing its limits. Ha! Says the one who's still hiding their trump card. Also, Since it's not dispelled yet, we can continue for a bit longer, right? I want to return the favor for the injury just now. I said that as I pointed my sword towards him, but Prince Ashel pointed at the wound on his shoulder. Even if you say so, I also suffered this stroke of your sword. How about we make today's match a draw, and continue on another day just as promised? With behavior that showed no eagerness, he shrugged his shoulders. It seems his motivation completely disappeared. Well, it can't be helped. Let's continue after you win. However, if you really intend to win against those N.O.Blas, your easygoing ATTI.tude might drag you down. You need to be as careful as possible. I'm always careful. Then, do you accept these terms? All right. I'll observe quietly. I see. Then, I'll polish my skill until that time. Prince Ashel smiled brightly. However, as if suddenly remember something, his expression turned serious. The princess name Hyuki, is that something like a name which has been inherited for generations? No, it's my name only. But, I don't really know if there's someone else out there with same sounding name though. Using a duplicate name was not possible, that's why in a server there won't be two people with the same name. However, there are many who have different kanji, but the same reading, that's why my name is not unique. I see. Actually, in the past, when my father taught me about the records of the Lost Era, there's someone with same name as you, Princess. I wonder if it's only a coincidence, or perhaps it has some connections with you, Princess. Hearing term Lost Era unexpectedly, I was surprised and unconsciously drew closer to Prince Ashel. What do you mean? There's some mentioning of my name. Overpowered by my vigor, the prince squinted with a baffled expression. Well, the record left in the Amisha royal family is nothing but fragments, or more like fairy tales. They say something like people in the Lost Era had the power close to that of AG.O.D, and it was an era where death and starvation didn't exist, also giant castles floated in the sky. Yeah, that very castle is still floating in the sky even now, you know. And then there was a group that transcended even them, and one of them had the name Hyuki. Something like that. It's still not enough material to judge, so I still can't draw any conclusions. That said, whether direct or indirect, this world certainly is connected with E.H.O, Eternal Horizon Online. Is there a more detailed record or doc.u.ment about the Lost Era? I think it'll be difficult to find. When my father let me hear about it when I was a child, he only said it in a tone like he was telling a fairy tale. However, if there exists a country who has more detailed doc.u.ment, it will be no other than the Holy Kingdom of Ian. Ian, huh? If I'm not mistaken, that's the country which is overly serious about human supremacy, right? Yes. Also, foreigners who are not believers are not allowed to enter, so it might be hard to confirm if the doc.u.ments exist there. As I fold my arms, thinking, finally the sound of the pursuers' carriages catch my ears. Well, let's think about it later. Mikoto and I will stop the pursuers here, so you guys may go ahead. What will you do, Princess Hyuki? Answering Prince Ashel's question, I waved my hand. I've asked what I wanted to know. I'll deal with the pursuers here, so this is goodbye. Please tell Angelica too. Well, if I have free time I'll drop by. I see. Then, this is a short separation. Please be healthy until our reunion. Saying those words, he once again took my hand and kissed it. I can't react again. Mikoto eyes said something like perhaps it's better to kill him after all, but I answered her with right, but let's vent that anger towards our pursuers for now. Rather than a reunion, I think it's more like the day of our rematch. As I said it, I placed my hand on Prince Ashel's shoulder and used heal. Oh, this is. I am truly grateful and happy. Then, until we meet again. Saying that, Prince Ashel left that place behind gallantly. Oh dear. After saying a few words towards Angelica and Sir Carlo, they left in a hurry, though Angelica seemed worried as she looked back here many times. As I looked at the disappearing carriage I felt a bit lonely. Then, let's go, Mikoto. I grasped the summoned sinner of Rose, Jill de Rice, instead of the water sword. As you command, Princess. Wielding her saint cane, she chased after me. Well, many things happened, but they're fun siblings. I don't know how far the older brother will be able to go with his immature ideal, but I can at least pray for his success. Prince Ashel's physical and magical reinforcements last for 30 minutes. If he goes all out, they might only last for 15 minutes.